Let's talk about social and like social media pressure in terms of success. What do you see going on from your perspective working in the career services industry right now?
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned that. I was actually in a group chat with friends recently, and someone had mentioned, or they had asked, why is working hard not cool anymore? You go on LinkedIn, other social media channels, and typically a lot of the chatter out there is that companies are bad and they are taking advantage of you and that employees are good. And that if you work hard, you might not get that payoff and therefore you're not cool, you're foolish for doing so. What's not cool about paying off your student loans? What's not cool about getting a bonus and climbing the corporate ladder and making life for yourself, living where you want to live, doing the things you want to do? The byproduct of hard work is money, easier lifestyle, and you can have the life that you want to live. And while bad things could happen to you, and they might not be your fault, it is your responsibility to fix them and give yourself the best possible opportunity for success in the long term.
Do you think people are just short-sighted right now and not realizing that your 20s and 30s is kind of the time to work hard? You make some sacrifices, you build a skill, master a craft, so you're more valuable in your 40s and 50s. We're so focused on this narrative that you see on LinkedIn and social media that we're not thinking what are my 40s and 50s going to look like financially? Is it just a matter of we're not looking at the long game?
I think that's absolutely it. I think that hard work hurts now, and we kind of kick the can down the road, where if we don't want to put in the extra time at work now, because we may think we're busy now, it's almost like we write off later years when we're inherently going to be more busy, assuming that you might have a family, more responsibilities. I don't know anyone whose bills go down. I only know people whose bills go up, right? So you need to have a better career and kind of financial security for that later day, because it is coming, inevitably. So worry about it today so that you can worry about it less tomorrow. You're eventually going to worry about it.
Also, on a long enough timeline, bad things do happen to you. Mm-hmm. You will likely get sick, or there'll be a recession, or something will happen, for example. And you see these people who didn't take their 20s and 30s very serious, and then 38, 40, they catch an illness, and it really limits their earning ability. Well, how are you going to recover and retire now in the next 20 or 30 years? Like, we're not thinking that way anymore. And we're not there yet. This generation hasn't gotten that far to pay that price. But it doesn't seem like we're shifting towards people going back to that mindset of, I really have to build for tomorrow.
Absolutely. And I think that people see the short term because it's easy. They feel it today. They don't want the pain of long hours or going into the office every day. They don't want the pain of raising their hand and taking on more responsibilities. But the worst pain that you're going to get is the pain of regret and not having put in that time earlier in your career, because time is only a limited asset and you only have so many working years to where you can add value to an organization. We talk about it all the time, how it's more and more competitive to find your dream job. So why not make it easier on yourself by focusing on what you can do today to make tomorrow easier?
On a parting note, we talk about why is working hard not cool. And I was telling buddy's son about where we grew up and where my father's friends are right now, and a lot of them ended up in this co-op building downriver, where they're living check to check. They're 60 something plus, 60, 70, 80 years old. They have no money. They're in this like rent controlled apartment, and they have like $1 left at the end of the month. If something bad happens, they just get by. And I try to paint the story of, is that how you want to live the last 30 of your life? Do you want to, 50s until whenever? Do you want to literally get by on whatever your Social Security is? And I just don't know if that's the way I want to spend the last third of my life, because, if I didn't want to work a little bit harder, and God, even putting 40 hours in a week now is almost gets you shamed.
Right.
It's, I saw what happens when you're 65 and you're broken. I don't want that.
Right. There are no guarantees in life. You cannot predict when AI is going to come and take your job. You cannot predict when your skill is becoming more and more obsolete, whether it be through economic condition or technological advancement. All these things are very real possibilities for everyone, regardless of industry. And so knowing that you have to work 40 hours a week at a minimum, and you're going to be working for the rest of your life, why not make the most of it? Try to learn something, try to develop a marketable skill set, try to develop marketable soft skills so that you're as valuable as possible. And then that way, that's really the only way you can give yourself the best chance of winning in the long term, and so that your future self doesn't regret some of the things that your current self is doing now.